Architectural Builder's Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Hey, B Supply, this is Richard.
Hey, Richard, this guy with the door hinges.
Hi.
Hey, so you said the door hinge probably isn't going to work for my case. I don't know if you remember, it was the 4-inch by 3.5-inch door hinge we were emailing last week.
Yeah. Yeah, right. What is your email address? Okay, let's take a look at your hinge. Okay. So the height of that hinge is 4-inch?
Correct.
And the overall width is about 3 3/4?
Let me take a tape measure and double check, but that sounds about right. It's not exactly 4 inches because the one side is a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was also thinking the worst case is I could use that smaller hinge and just drill new holes into the frame, as long as it fits on the door side.
Okay, so let's study that. Okay. Yeah, so there is a manufacturer who does unequal leaf hinges. Let me look it up. 4310. Okay. So a 4 by 3 3/4, 4. Yeah. So Peachtree doors were known to have those leaves that were unequally wide. I don't know if what you have is Peachtree or not. It would be. I just wouldn't know. So the issue. So you had just said about using a 4-inch hinge. Okay, great. But what was the other line of thought about that?
Oh, yeah. So I had a 4-inch hinge, thinking it was a 4-inch in my door, but it didn't fit. So I was thinking of using a 4-inch, the left side, onto the door frame, which is about 2 inches wide, and then the 3.5-inch on the door side, which is about 1 inch and 5/8. And comparing it with like a regular 3.5 by 3.5, it looks to be the right width using a 3.5 on the right side, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So that 4 by 3.5-inch hinge, it's going to be 4-inch tall. And when you lay the hinge open in front of you, it's going to be 3.5-inch wide. It's just that both of the leaves are going to be equal when measured from the center line. And what you have most likely is not that at all. So your black leaf on the jamb, if you measure the outside edge to the center line of the hinge, or just before the barrel, it's probably wider than the red leaf. So if you were to use a 4 by 3.5 standard hinge, you would find that the jamb portion leaf is a little too short in terms of its width, and the vertical axis of pivoting is going to be even closer to the stop face. And then you'll notice that it may work on the door, or it's probably going to be a bit short, where you'll have a part of the edge of the door that will not be covered by the new hinge leaf.
Got it.
So now, what's the face of your door? Is it when you rap on it? Is it steel, or it's steel, isn't it?
I think this is a wood door.
Okay.
But it's like filled with foam on the inside, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah.
I mean, it certainly looks like the edge of the door is wood. It's hard to know what the face of the door is, because that line that's there on the edge of your door is odd to me. I don't know what that is, other than this being possibly a metal-clad door. So if you were to use a 4 by 3.5, yeah, you could probably make it work, but it's not going to fit right on one or both sides. of the meaning of the rabbet. That's what that part of the frame is called, and then the style of the door. If you used a 4x4, it really wouldn't be the end of the world, but what you would certainly have to do is chisel into the door more. So on the outside, the right outside edge of your hinge leaf, which is on your door, if you went to the right of that, where that line is, that mystery line to me, you might find yourself having to chisel more of that away. So
I do have a 4x4 on here. The only concern I have is it like goes over the edge of the actual door a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean on the face of the door? You would have to chisel all the way out to the face?
Not just that, but like it actually protrudes past the face. Like it would be sticking out like further forward. It's like wider than the door itself.
The leaf is. So
yes.
And when you're referring to it sticking off the face of the door, are you talking about the push side of the door or the pull side?
It would be
when the door's in the closed position. Are you talking about the push side or the side that you'd pull it? The inside or the outside?
The outside, the push side, yeah. So it's like just a smidge like past the front of the door, which I think might be a little weird.
That's a problem. Yeah. And that's a problem because of how I can see in the left side of your image that there is some weather stripping that's shown there. And
yes, there is.
They have to leave a really big gap between the face of the stop and the face of the door to accommodate that curved-in foam gasketing. And that stuff can be, it could have a 5/8 reach, it could have a 1/2 inch reach, or a 7/16. So the reason they use that odd, unequal leaf is because they got to scooch the door out. They got to move it because they're going to stuff all that weather stripping in there. And the weather stripping is really great. So, obviously, I have no chance of supplying you with a hinge like this, like what's on your door. What I may be able to supply you with, and let's go over the options. So there is, let me take a look and see if there are any of these even available. Okay, so there is, you may have a Peachtree door. So there still is. There's a manufacturer called Bomber. They've been making hinges since 1876. They very recently discontinued manufacturing builders hardware, which is a shame because they were the last 100% domestically manufactured hinge, meaning the steel was supplied from North America. So that may not mean a lot to all of us. My iPhone was made in China. It's one of the greatest pieces of build quality I've ever seen. Yeah. But if you're the U.S. Navy, they're not buying Asian manufactured door hinges. So Bomber had a great niche there where they got all that work because it was American made, no substitute. So Bomber made a lot of spring hinges, and they made one for Peachtree. And are you at a computer right now?
I am not. I'm in my kitchen.
Well, that's okay. I'll email you a link to this. So I have in stock a hinge that may be perfect for you. Bomber only made spring hinges. You don't need spring hinges. You could install these with the concept that you would simply not set the tension on the spring, and it in no way encumbers the fact that it's still a hinge. And the reason that you may want it, even though it's not in the right finish that you want, but it should be dimensionally exactly correct for your application, where you're not dealing with part of the door that's no longer covered by a hinge leaf by using a 4x3.5, which is going to cause its own problems, or chiseling for a 4x4, which is no good. That's not ideal. It would work. You could even take that hinge leaf and grind it. But none of that is none of that's good. So what might be the least of all evils is to use the Peachtree spring hinge. That there are still 17 in stock in one particular finish, which if you're going to paint it, you could take the time and do that as well. So I'm going to send you a link to the template, and I believe it's going to be exactly what you need because I don't know the dimensions of your hinge. I can't obviously see that, but when you see my template, you'll say, "Oh yeah, no, that's it," and you'll match that against what you have.
Okay.
Yeah, and let me take one look here. Yeah, that's looking really good. The template pattern may also be exactly correct as well. Then you could have a peach tree. So we used to sell a lot of these peach trees, these peach tree hinges. So yeah, give me about 10 minutes. I'll send over an email to you and let me know if that looks good. I'll send you a link to the item because the hinge costs a little bit more being a spring hinge, but the savings on the backside might be worthwhile. So why are you changing the hinge to begin with?
Oh, yeah, so I was doing a whole remodel, and the old hinges, they were brass, and they were all fading, and the builders also painted over, like, half of them. And when I originally, looked at it, I was like, oh, that's a 4x4. And then once I finished, I actually repainted the door itself, too, and then I realized, oh, shoot, the 4x4 doesn't fit.
Yeah, the tip-off is that big piece of weather stripping, and that weather stripping is great. It's cheap, it's effective, and it's really easy to replace what you have to every 10 or 20 years. So you're not going to want to change any of that because it's effective. That Curfton style, a lot of people know it as Q-Lon. We don't know it as that, but that's a name that you'll find. So awesome. I'm optimistic that you'll make it less worse than it is now, and these hinges will last forever. Although you're going to have to paint them if you want them in a particular finish because they are only left in stock in antique brass, and that is the opposite of what you have going on there.
Okay.
But at least look at the template and decide whether or not, that fits so perfectly that I'll deal with painting them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anything's better than what I have now, which is like half painted, half antique brass by age.
Yeah, an involuntary antique brass is what you have.
Yeah.
Actually, what you probably have is zinc dichromate, which is it will look like a brass tone. It's a corrosion-resistant coating they put on steel to keep it from rusting. So, builder's quality, regular stuff. Nothing good or bad about it. It is what it is.
Okay, great. Yeah, send me that link, and I'll take a look at it once I can.
Awesome, sir. Thank you very much. I'll be around.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.